Okay, so let's dive right into this. It's kind of crazy, right? Have you noticed how basically every single business out there right now is completely obsessed with artificial intelligence? I mean, every board of directors is demanding it, every exec is promising the moon, but then you look closely at the actual enterprise rollouts and, well, a lot of them are just completely flopping. They're frustrating, they're clunky, and honestly, they just don't deliver on that whole magic we were all promised. So welcome to this explainer. Today, we're dissecting some absolutely phenomenal analysis by Daniel Meisler, who has consulted for some of the world's biggest companies, by the way, and he completely shatters the illusion of why these AI rollouts are failing. We are going to look at the massive myth surrounding enterprise AI readiness.
All right, hit pause on whatever you thought the root problem was, because this is going to reframe everything for you. Most of the frustration people have with AI not being able to do what they want is actually them not being able to describe what they want. Now, what's really fascinating here is that it completely busts the biggest myth in tech right now. The prevailing narrative is always, oh, the AI just isn't smart enough yet. It can't handle our complex business. But Meister argues the exact opposite. AI is fundamentally about execution. But here's the thing. AI is completely powerless when it doesn't know what it's supposed to execute. You literally cannot optimize a process that you don't even understand. And, it's incredibly foolish to try and scale something that you probably shouldn't even be doing in the first place. So this isn't a technical maturity issue, not at all. It is 100% an organizational maturity issue.
Which brings us to Section 1, the chaotic black box.
So if we hold up a mirror to the daily reality of most enterprise environments, honestly, many companies exist despite themselves. Meisler points out that a massive percentage of companies out there are really just haphazardly successful. If you walked into their HQ right now and asked them to clearly map out their strategies, their work streams, or exactly how they accomplish their day-to-day tasks, they'd probably stare blankly at you, or honestly just laugh in your face. It would literally take them weeks just to put together a committee to find out what they actually do. They're essentially these chaotic black boxes that barely function. And telling them to use AI, it's like turning on an old TV, seeing nothing but static, and having your leadership team say, hey, we need to scale this. Put AI on this immediately. That's exactly what happens when leadership mandates AI in an organization that lacks clear internal structure and workflows. You're literally just asking a computer to scale your own confusion.
Let's actually play out how this conversation usually goes down on the ground floor. The mandate comes down from the execs, hey team, we need an AI strategy by Q3. And the worker, the person who actually has to implement this thing, gives the only logical response. Cool, boss. Do me a favor and point at the thing you want me to improve. Right? Point to the exact workflow. Point to the specific data stream. Point to the mapped out process that we're actually trying to optimize here. And here is the predictable, painfully familiar corporate response. The boss pauses. Great question. Let's get some meetings together to figure that out. And boom, there it is. The ultimate punchline of the modern enterprise. AI is entirely useless in these companies because they don't even have a baseline to start from. The tool that is supposedly going to save them all this time, it just ends up generating months of discovery meetings.
Moving on to Section 2, traits of thriving companies.
So, what do the companies who actually succeed with AI look like? How do they behave differently? Well, a flailing company will spend massive amounts of time just claiming they know what they're doing. But their answers, they change entirely from quarter to quarter. Everything is always in flux. People are just writing down whatever buzzwords make them look good in the moment. Taking weeks to prep presentations that just get tossed in the trash a month later. And if you give AI to a flailing company, it doesn't fix them. It actually makes things worse, because now AI just helps them flail more impressively. They use AI to do rapid backflips of totally useless charts. But a thriving company, they operate completely differently. They give consistent, deeply self-aware answers across different quarters and years. They actually know who they are.
Now, what exactly do I mean when I say they know who they are? I mean they can rattle off their entire operational existence without even breaking a sweat. A thriving, self-aware company can instantly tell you the problems they solve for customers, the flaws in their existing solutions, their precise company goals, the metrics for those goals, their challenges, their strategies, their projects, their workflows, their personnel, and their exact costs. Boom. No discovery meetings needed. Because they possess this granular self-knowledge, when they plug AI into their system, they know exactly what instructions to give it. And the better the AI gets, the more they're going to absolutely crush their operational goals.
Now, a really fair question naturally pops up here. If the vast majority of massive legacy companies are really just chaotic black boxes faking their way from quarter to quarter, how are they still in business? I mean, how haven't they gone bankrupt yet? Well, the answer is incredibly blunt and honestly kind of surprising. Most of their competition is just as bad.
Right now, market survival for a lot of legacy enterprise companies isn't actually based on operational excellence. It's based on mutual incompetence. They are surviving purely because the giant company across the street is also a chaotic mess, trying to scale a screen of static. It's just an even playing field of inefficiency.
And that brings us to Section 3, the real threat ahead.
Look, that era of mutual incompetence, it is about to end, and it's going to end violently. Let's look at the actual existential danger that these unwieldy companies are completely ignoring while they, mess around with AI chatbots. Let's walk through these 3 vital takeaways. First off, AI has barely even started in the enterprise, purely because only a tiny fraction of companies actually have the self-knowledge to be ready for it. Second, we have got to stop blaming the technology. The bottleneck here is a lack of clear, consumable company self-knowledge. But point three is the absolute earthquake. The primary danger to large, unwieldy companies is that it is now possible for a smaller company to function with the strength of a much larger one. It is far, far easier for a small company to answer that 10-point checklist we just covered. They know their workflows. And when those highly organized, highly self-aware small companies plug into AI, they are going to exert an extraordinary downward force on the large, disorganized giants. Those giants are in grave danger. And this brings us to the ultimate reality check. AI is not the magic fix for today's problems. Rather, AI is the weapon that the winners are going to use to fight each other in the new world. Right now, the game is just figuring out who is actually organized and self-aware enough to make it to that new world. If you don't have your house in order, you aren't even going to make it to the battlefield.
Which leads us to our final question, and this is the one I want to leave ringing in your ears today. Please, do not go back to your desk and ask what AI can do for your company. You need to ask, is your company even in a state where AI can help at all? Are your workflows actually defined? Are your goals clear? Are you a thriving, self-aware machine, or are you just a chaotic black box trying to scale static? Because if you're the latter, you need to get your house in order, and you need to do it right now. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helps you look at your own organization with a fresh and maybe slightly terrifying perspective. Catch you next on.